Welcome to the 2017 American Lung Association Fight for Air Climb right here in Dallas, Texas at the iconic Renaissance Tower. This is a 53-story race. I've raced here before. It's one of my favorite buildings to race in. My name is Scott Stanley. I've been a competitive tower runner since 2011. Last year I ended up being ranked 7th overall men's in the United States and 38th in the world. And this is one of my favorite buildings to race in. I'm based right here in Dallas. I'll be at this event too. But we're so excited that you're going to be involved with our race. This video is to give you some tips and maybe some training ideas to get ready for your event. Must be traffic at Love Field. So I know some of you that are going to the race, or maybe you're deciding on the race. Maybe you're on a corporate team, or one of your friends got you involved, and you're kind of a little concerned about racing up 53 stories in the tower. You're thinking, it's going to be really hard. It'd be like me fighting this fire-breathing dragon. And I can promise you that there are no... Oh, really? Hey, watch it. Hey, you know, you're not helping here. Okay, I can promise you there are no fire-breathing dragons inside the stairwell. Outside, who knows? I think that's just one of those turkey vultures that we have here in Texas. I tell you what, because the weather in the Dallas, Fort Worth area can change in a moment's notice, especially in the wintertime. I'm going to take the rest of the video to the inside studio, so just give me a moment. I'll be right back. Well, one thing you can say about Texas weather, it never stays the same. Unless it's summertime, then it just stays hot. So let's get right into tips, and then we're going to go into training. The number one tip is breathing. What do you mean by that? Well, most people in sporting events don't breathe correctly. And what I'm talking about is diaphragmatic breathing. It's also called abdominal breathing or belly breathing. In fact, it's natural when we're born. If you ever watch a newborn baby breathe, you'll see their belly rise. As we get older, we get kind of stressed out. We start breathing through our chest. And I see this at all the races I go to. I see a lot of people doing chest breathing. And the problem with that is as you get higher up in the stairwell, you start breathing faster, shorter, faster, and you're not getting the full amount of air in or the CO2 out. So if you want to know if you're not doing diaphragmatic breathing, just lay down on the floor, put a book on your stomach, and just breathe normally, and you'll see that book doesn't rise. Now when you start contracting your diaphragm, breathing deeply, you'll see that book rise. Now, it takes practice doing diaphragmatic breathing, and here's how I use it in a race is when I go up stairwell, instead of breathing shorter and faster, I use the same rhythm going all the way up the stairwell, in and out, deep breaths. I just use more force. I take in more air, push more out, and it will definitely help you have a more successful race at the Renaissance Tower. So, diaphragmatic breathing, you can do searches on YouTube, find out more about it, but you have to practice it. And if you're training and you find all of a sudden you're like, whoops, I got out of it, just reboot and start that breathing again and make it a habit. Tip number 2, this is really important in a race, is pace. You've got to pace yourself. We get really excited when we're with our teammates and we're getting ready to start. And for those of you who don't know, it usually starts about every 15 seconds, one person at a time. But you're all fired up and people can just roar up the stairwell. And you can make it about 5, maybe 10 floors, but you're using your anaerobic, your fast twitch muscle fibers and system. And that's what you think of a sprinter doing a 100-meter dash. And that's about how much fuel you have. And somewhere between the 5th and 10th floor, you're going to hit the wall, and the rest of the climb is going to be a struggle. So pace yourself. And the best way I can say to pace yourselves is if you think you're going too fast, you probably are. So back it down, especially the first 5 or 10 floors. Back it down a little bit. When you get to about the 10th floor, see how you're feeling. If you think you can pick it up a little bit on your pace, then go for that. Otherwise, if you feel that you're at a good pace, then you're good. And if you still feel you're going too fast, back it down a little bit. But one of the big things, try not to do, unless maybe you're feeling, if you're not feeling good, if you start feeling faint or dizzy, stop. But if you're not, try to keep going. Don't stop. There's a real problem with our mind is screaming at our body. It's like, stop, stop, stop. And don't stop. Just slow down, because once you stop, it's really hard to get your mind to say, yeah, let's go, let's go, let's go. Just slow down. So let's get into tip number 3. Do 2 steps at a time. 2 steps is much more efficient than doing 1 step. Most people, depending on their size, can do 2 steps just fine. 3 steps is too much. You lose some stability on the sides of your knees, so don't do 3 steps, but practice doing 2 steps if you have some stairs to practice in. And tip number 4, use the rails. That's what they're there for. Use them. Now at this event, you can use the rails on both sides. So I'll just give you just a quick example. You can do what we call the rope pull as you're going up, where it's also called the grapevine, where you're kind of pulling yourself using one rail. Or you can use both rails and you can do both at the same time, or do one and then the other. And if you get to a landing and you can grab a rail and spin around, we'll do that. Give yourself some momentum. And actually, you can do all 3 of those in a race. That way you won't overtax your muscles. But if you just use your legs, you're gonna wear out your legs. Use the rails. They're a great asset. And when you're using the rails, bend over slightly forward so that gravity is working with you. If you're leaning back, gravity's going to be working against you. So tip number 5, gloves. If you're going to use the rails, get some gloves. Now, I use these are great for practice, but I used these for several years when I was racing. You can get these at Home Depot. They're called Gorilla Grip gloves. They're $4.97. They come in the sizes of small, medium, large, and extra large. And they have a polymer coating, and it's a polyester, so they breathe. So they're really good if you're going to practice to get these gloves, because they won't. You won't get any blisters. Some people use wide receiver gloves, and if you're practicing, if you're in stairwell a long time, you can actually rub blisters because the moisture can't escape. So Home Depot's the only ones that carry the Gorilla Grip gloves. If you go to, and they'll be somewhere in one of the center aisles of the store. Lowe's carries a similar brand called Blue Hawk. They're nitrile-coated gloves. Now they're generally found near the home and garden part of the store. And Harbor Freight carries their Hardy brand of polyester-coated gloves, and they're only $2. So get you some gloves. You can just machine wash them, let them air dry. Great asset to have in the stairwell. So our next tip is recovery. You know, if you're going to be training for one of these events, you've got to recover, because that's where you get the gains from. And of course, one thing you want to do is be drinking a lot of water. And one of the things about water, though, is if you're drinking a lot of water, make sure you have some things like in the morning, maybe fruit, and then in the afternoon, vegetables that have fiber, because you want that water to get absorbed in your system. If you're not eating any kind of fibrous foods, that water's just going to pass right through you. So drink a lot of water. And our last tip on recovery, this is one of my favorite things, is a foam roller. These are a great way to kind of release those trigger points that we get in our muscles, where we get knots in our muscles. This one happens to be a rumble roller, and boy, it's really great, as you can tell with the blue knobs. Now, locally, Dick's Sporting Goods carries this. I also have a trigger point roller, and it's good for travel because it's hollow, so if you're packing your suitcase, you can put some things in your suitcase with that. But and if you want to find out how to use a foam roller, Google Rumble Roller, and on their site they've got quite a few videos on how to use that. But even if you don't get one of these rollers, get you a foam roller. Get on YouTube, Google some sites, and find out about how to use a foam roller. It'll really help you out. So here we go, getting ready to go into training. All right, so let's talk about training. So I've been thinking, what's the best way to train for climbing stairs? What could it be? Hey, climbing stairs. You know, the problem we have in today's culture is that you just can't go bebopping into a high-rise office building, hit the stairwell, and start climbing stairs. Otherwise, you're going to get escorted out of the building by some friendly or probably some not-so-friendly folks pronto. But I got great news. On February 4th, the folks at the American Lung Association and the Renaissance Tower have teamed up, and we're going to have a practice climb. Now, there are some stipulations, and I'll give you the ones I know. Just make sure you know beforehand any of the stipulations you need to meet so that you can do the practice climb. You do have to be registered for the race. You have to have paid half your fundraising, which is $50, and you need to make sure the staff at the American Lung Association know before the day of the practice climb that you're going to be doing it. If you don't meet these and you show up the morning of the practice climb, there's a good chance you won't be able to climb. If there's any other stipulations, you should get what they need in an email from them. So, it's a great way to train, and for those of you that have never done a race before, this will get the butterflies out of your stomach. You'll come out of there more confident, and I'll be there too, because I don't ever get a chance to get in the stairwell except at races. So if you see me bebopping up the stairs and you got a question or you need some help with something, just say, "Hey Scott, come here," and I'll be happy to help you out. So, you know, the thing about the DFW area is we have so many resources for training. So, hey, you can join a gym, and we have so many different kinds of gyms now, from low-cost, no-contract to traditional gyms, even specialty gyms. I did Krav Maga over in North Dallas for 2 years and got in such good shape that I came in 5th place in my first race, and I had no idea what I was doing in the stairwell. You also have personal trainers. So that and so many resources in the DFW area. Now I'm going to give you a list of exercises that I think are really apropos to tower running. Spin classes, cycling, high-intensity interval training like CrossFit and boot camps. Those folks at the races always do really well. Stairmaster is actually a great way to train. One of my teammates a few years ago, she would do level 20. Yeah, that's right, level 20 for an hour, and she could hold a normal conversation. She came in 6th place at the Fight for Air climb in a time of 8 minutes and 39 seconds. So yeah, you can use a Stairmaster. Just make sure you use proper form. Trail running, if you can find some hills, would be a great way to train. Gym classes that the gals like to do, like kickboxing and turbo fire and Zumba, those are all great ways to train. And now if you can't get away from the house when you get home, or you're trying to train early in the morning and you just can't go to a gym, something I came across, I haven't tried it yet, but it sounds like a great resource. Beachbody, the folks that brought you all the P90X series and Shanti's Insanity and T25 and all those different workout programs that you've seen on the infomercials, they now do Beachbody on demand, so you can stream them. I think they have about 30 of their programs. The first 30 days are free. I don't know what the cost is after that, but it seems like a great way to try one of those programs without having to spend a lot of money on a DVD set. So what I'll be showing you next is just a few workouts you can do that may help you. The big thing with all of these is make sure you use proper form. You want to use proper form so that you get the benefit of the workout and that you don't injure yourself. Now what you'll be seeing first is Linda Viner. She's 5th ranked in the U.S. and she's doing a single leg split squat. And then you're going to see her doing a single leg squat. And these exercises help to engage your glutes and your quads, which is something we use in tower running races. You could do a couple of sets of each of your legs with that. And then what you're going to be seeing is burpee being demonstrated. Burpees are a great way to work out because you want to work out your whole body. Burpees. And then really a great aerobic workout is jump rope. Yeah, jump rope is awesome. And you know, the great thing is you don't have to buy a jump rope. Just you move your arms and get in sync just like you would. Do what you're seeing in the exercises that are being displayed. And you can go to YouTube and type in jump rope workouts, and there's a whole bunch of great 7 to 10 to 15 minute workouts. So you could do the exercises I just showed you, and then you could do like maybe a 10-minute jump rope workout, then 2 minutes off, the exercises I showed you, and then the jump rope, and you know, do maybe 2 sets of all of those, or 3 sets, and boy, it'd be a great way to work out, and it won't cost you anything. So there you have it. There's some tips for training. Just make sure whatever you do that you use proper form. You know, when you start to get fatigued, that's when injuries can come about. And if you're not sure about proper form, well, go to somebody that can help you out. Join a gym or find a personal trainer, but make sure that you take the time to do any of these exercises the proper way. If you haven't worked out at all, you might want to go see your doctor ahead of time and just get a checkup. Tell them what you're going to be doing, and make sure that they say, hey, yeah, you can do that. So we look forward to seeing you at the race. When we have the race, have a great time. Enjoy it. You're going to feel so rewarded when you get to the top. It's a great reward to climb a 53-story building and to look down and see what you did. So have a great climb, and whatever goals you set for your time, we hope you meet that and have super fast times. And I look forward to meeting all of you at the top. Thanks for watching.